Pan! I hope you're here, because I don't know where else to look for you.
Of course I'm here, Grace. Where else would I be but amongst the trees and the wild things? I really must thank you, by the by. Asterion is simply over the moon, and he's already repaid me with this select tome from the reliquary.
That's why you did all this? Because you wanted some book?
Not just some book, but a tome from the forbidden depths.
I doubt Hecate would be pleased.
Oh, most assuredly not. Neither would Athena, which makes it all the more delicious. I trust you got what you needed. More grist for the mill of your innocence, as it were.
You know I did! Don't try to deny it!
I'm fairly certain I've yet to deny anything at all.
Ugh!
Grace, if I didn't know better, I'd say you were being fresh.
Go ahead. Tell me it's a coincidence that you knew exactly where to send me.
You have no reason to be suspicious. I know nothing of what happened to Calliope at the reliquary. I suppose the question at the heart of this is, do you believe me?
Give me a reason to believe you, Pan.
You want the ever-elusive proof. If I had that to offer, do you think I would hesitate to share it? Alas, it is my burden to be forever condemned by my idle brethren. I've become accustomed to it. Truly. I've never lied to you, Grace, and I never shall. If you're looking for innocence, however, well, I'm afraid that's one thing I cannot provide.
And if I can't accept that? If I find out you're somehow involved in this?
You'll do what you do, and I'll do what I do, and we'll see where that takes us.
If you're still up for trading favors, I could use more help.
Oh, of course you could. You could live the high life, Grace. Throw caution to the wind. Embrace what you can before you,
Before I die? You don't have any hope for me, do you? You're just taking what you can get before it's over.
You'll want to find Medusa, I suppose.
Yeah, her name keeps coming up.
You'll find Medusa at a dingy little club appropriately named the Viper's Nest. Give her my regards. But do be careful if you call on her, Grace. Medusa is a hideous monster and should be treated as such.
Back from your visit to the reliquary?
How did you know I was there?
Athena was ranting about it when I left her. She's none too pleased about you breaking the rules. Let's hope what you learned was worth it. Medusa was at the reliquary that night. You don't intend to confront her directly, do you?
I have to know why she was there. She could have been the one who attacked Calliope.
She could. And she could also attack you. I wouldn't put it past her. Still, while I hate to say it, confronting Medusa may be your best option.
You could come with me when I talk to her.
Trust me, if I'm anywhere within a mile, she'll have vanished by the time you so much as knock on her door. Just lie to me and say you'll be careful. Now then, unless you've something else to ask.
Tell me more about Calliope. You and her were good friends, right?
We were.
And?
And if you had told me a decade ago that I would become close to one of the muses, I would have laughed in your face. I always considered them Apollo's creatures. Calliope, Clio, and Talia. vapid, frivolous gods who handed off their eidolon to any artist who took their fancy. Every time I met one of them, they were someone else. I mean, Apollo called them the Sisters of Beauty, no matter their gender. Can you imagine that? That's such a stupid name.
I never thought of that. Do idols change gender a lot?
Well, it happens. With the Muses, it happened frequently. Everywhere Apollo went, they surrounded him like a gaggle of ducklings, just like him to gather his own fans.
If you disliked the Muses so much, how did you end up becoming friends with Calliope?
She sought me out. She'd become more and more unhappy on Olympus, so she decided to leave just as I had, long before. Calliope asked for my help, and I laughed in her face. Go ask one of your sycophant mortals, I told her. I mean, surely one of them has some threadbare couch you can sleep on.
Wow.
Typically, she was undeterred. She didn't just want a place to stay. She said she wanted to learn how to be truly independent from an idol who had mastered it. What can I say? I mean, I am a sucker for a well-timed compliment. I took her in. Apollo was furious. He and Calliope were barely speaking, but he was certain she'd come crawling back to Olympus. Oh, it made taking her in all the sweeter.
After you took Calliope in, that's when you became friends?
Oh, no, not right away. I wasn't looking for a friend. What I was looking for was an opening act in the club. Calliope entertained here for years, and then eventually turned from performing to attracting new acts. She was in her element. She and I, we warmed up to each other eventually. She was more capable than I expected, and I adored her furious rants.
Calliope didn't seem like the furious type when I met her. That's hard to picture.
Oh, then you didn't really meet her. She was an idealist, and nobody could ever quite live up to her standards for very long. Her brothers and sisters, least of all. The idols needed to change, she said. They were withering away in the shadows, diminished and unwilling to save their own skins. When I joined the chorus, she expected me to change everything, as if I could single-handedly override Athena. I was to be her champion, and together we would bring revolution to the idols. Well, I was yet another disappointment. She left the club, but I gave her a place to live. We were supposed to stay in touch, but you know how it went from there.
What happened to the other Muses? You mentioned 2 others. Were they lost in the war?
One of them was, though not like you think. The day we were to leave on the ship, Talia simply never showed up.
Do you know what happened to her?
We never heard from her again. Apollo thrashed about in mourning, but Talia had been fading away for years. It wasn't a surprise to the rest of us.
What about the other Muse? Cleo.
Died long before. A victim at the hands of a mortal man, when she no longer possessed the power to bedazzle him. As I understand it, he kept her in a cage as a pet until her eidolon shriveled up and perished. It was dead before she was.
Ugh, that's pretty dark.
Yes, well, we come by our wariness of mortals honestly, Grace.
I'd like to know a little more about the idols. I am one now, right?
What constitutes a little more in this instance?
Well, what are we? Where did we come from? If an idol is a soul that moves from person to person, it must have started somewhere, right?
Ah, the big question. To which the answer is, nobody knows. I remember the original Persephone only vaguely. Indeed, I'm not even certain she was the original. Was there something before her? How did she get her eidolon? I couldn't tell you. Evidently, we wrote little down in those early days, or were forbidden to, and our memories only stretch back so far. Anything beyond that, simply isn't.
Psst. Isn't it strange to not know where you come from? For all you know, the idols could be aliens.
Aliens? Grace, you watch too many movies.
Gods are okay, but aliens are just wacky fiction.
Fine, yes. It is strange. No, our earliest days aren't the only blanks in our memories, however. We have many. And the last was the day Zeus called us all together to tell us Rome had fallen and we should prepare for war. But did that war occur? I couldn't tell you. The last thing I remember after Rome was 1,000 years later, in the 16th century. I was in a different body, feeling as if no time at all had passed. Athena calls that period the gap. That's what it feels like. All of us experienced it, and not one of us knows why or how.
The gap you mentioned. What was that like? Did you just wake up one day, or...
I wasn't asleep. I lived. I had lives. I passed on my eidolon. I may have known who I was and what I was, but perhaps I was completely unaware. All I know is that one day, Athena came to my nunnery, near Trieste, I think. The moment that I saw her, all the old memories came flooding back. My life during the gap was wiped away in an instant, and it never returned. If someone did that to us, they were powerful indeed.
What about Athena? I mean, she's the one who found you, right? She must have been aware.
Athena woke up on her own, or so she claims, and spent the next century rounding up those idols who remained. Zeus, however, was gone. What became of him, what happened in Rome, we've never pieced it together. It's troubling.
Tell me more about the war. It seems to have had a huge effect on all of you.
That's putting it mildly.
From Aphrodite's song, I know Ares betrayed everyone. What did you do?
Honestly, after my mother was murdered, I barely remember.
Your mother?
Her name was Demeter. Not truly my mother, but an idol who had always cared for me since the early days. I thought we'd be together forever. Then Ares brought those filthy bastards down on us. Demeter was slain by bullets. By bullets. Until that day, I believed we were untouchable.
I'm so sorry. That must have been hard to lose her like that.
I watched her fall. Heard her scream. I would have run to her, but I was pulled away to safety. By Hermes, I think. Whatever was left of the old Persephone. The innocent girl with the long hair who loved her gardens. She died with Demeter that day. After that, I don't know. We went from hiding place to hiding place. I didn't even know what Hephaestus had done for us when I found myself on a boat. We might have been gods once, but after the war, we were just refugees, like so many others, fleeing to a distant land.
Was it hard for the idols to come to the New World? It's just a place like any other, isn't it?
Well, it wasn't the place that was hard, it was the fear. We knew we were vulnerable. We knew mortals could and would kill us. Suddenly, there were rules. We had to be secret. We had to stay close together. We huddled in the shadows and quaked each time the mortals so much as breathed in our direction. We couldn't all live that way. Some of us drifted away, faded into the night without so much as an explanation. That's what's been the hard part. Our inevitable decline in a place where we don't belong. We can pass on our eidolons as often as we like, but it will never truly be home.
What's the deal between you and Apollo? The way you two fight.
I've told you how he and the other idols stood by and let me rot with Hades, did I not?
It seems more personal than that.
Okay, there's an old saying that no one escapes the underworld. But that's not true. I did. Once. Not long after Hades kidnapped me. I was homesick, and I missed my mother. Crone took pity on me and allowed me across the Styx. And after that, Grace, I waded through darkness itself to get out of there. Hades chased after me relentlessly, but I evaded him, right up until I got to the very slopes of Olympus. And who do you suppose was the first idol I met?
Uh-oh.
Apollo stood there. I cried out to him, begging him not to let Hades take me, and yet Apollo did as he has always done. Absolutely nothing. Hades was thrilled, and I knew then and there I could never rely on my so-called family for anything, ever again.
That's all I can think of for now. I'll see you around.
Oh yes, that's where I'll be, around.
This must be the Viper's Nest. Scariest part of town, no sign. Just that one dude glaring at everyone. Well, I'm here now. Just another day in the life of an idol.
There you are. Man, this place is the worst. I think someone peed on me.
Freddy? What are you doing here?
What, you thought I wouldn't notice you skulking off? You didn't even bring any equipment, Grace.
What kind of equipment does one bring to a meeting with Medusa?
This isn't a meeting, Grace. You're not here to sell her on your business plan.
Please tell me you don't have any weapons in there.
Nothing that would get me stopped on the bus. Look, you're gonna need some backup in there, okay? Do you even know anything about Medusa?
Do you think she actually turns people to stone?
Let's hope not, or this could be a short visit. Or a really, really long one.
I'm serious.
Perseus used a mirror to reflect Medusa's gaze back at her. Oh, maybe you could use your phone.
You think that would work?
Unless you brought a mirror, Grace, it's all you got.
Okay, I'll bite. What do you know about Medusa?
Well, you know, she was human once, right? And she was cursed.
Apollo mentioned it, yeah.
Cursed by Athena. Or so one of the stories goes, anyway.
But doesn't she work for Athena?
Hey, don't look at me. My knowledge of this stuff stops at a few thousand years ago.
She was once human, but she's definitely a monster, right?
Yeah, one of the worst. But, you know, so was the Minotaur.
Asterion said she was scary. I have a feeling she's not like him.
Then I guess you need to be prepared for the possibility that she is as bad as the legends say. Though some of the stories also say that she was wronged by Athena and that what was done to her was an injustice.
And Athena just follows the rules, right? Okay, enough talking. Time to do this.
You have a plan for how we're getting inside, I hope?
Maybe. You're here to help?
Always.
Then I have a plan.
Grace, you're not... of course you are.
Hi there.
Viper's Nest is closed. Private party.
You should let me in. Medusa will want to see me.
Uh-huh. And why would that be?
Because I'm the muse. And I'm willing to bet Medusa makes exceptions for idols.
Go on in. I'll send word to the boss you've arrived.
What a long day, hiding in the light. Such a long day, dreaming of tonight. This sacred bite. Hello, who's that there? You've messed up my flow. Just get your drink, girl, and take your seat. Oh, it's the Mew. There are sacred bites, and then there's this sacred bite. So wrong, so right. I'm really gonna hate myself tonight.
Before you start the show, Pan said to say hello. That's what he said to say.
Well, any friend of Pan's is a friend of Pan's.
Okay. I hate to interrupt your flow. There's just some things I need to know. I wish there was another way.
Yes, you do. Now, look into me. Your body goes freely every time I see it tenders turning jelly. I see it renders. What'd you say, Grace? You okay, Grace? Where's the game face this time? You are currently experiencing something I like to call the preparation. Any questions or comments? That's right, it is widely known that I can turn rocks to stone. Oh, I won't this time. This time I find time. That the oozy musy bloods my wine this time. Look into me. Oh, she's looking away. Hey, look
You flipped that hood.
me.
Then out came the snakes. Oh, you're so good. Finally, some steaks. Oh, the ice thing. What a difference an actual monster makes. Athena made you like this.
She was mad at me. So
Well, why was she mad?
she said I'd been bad.
Had you been?
No. Now look into me.
Listen, Medusa. She hides you in shame, but she uses you all the same. You could live another way. If I was treated like you, I'd be a monster too.
That's kind to say, but you could never be a creature like me. You didn't kill
Kill Calliope. So you know that it's true that I didn't do it.
No,
Yes, you do know. You know, does that mean Athena knows?
no. Okay. It's dinner time. You're not gonna watch? Finer grace, I'll taste.
Just
You think that will hurt me, child? You have not done your homework.
Oh, sorry, just trying to get your attention. Yeah, I've been watching, and I'm willing to bet you can't turn me to stone before I burn your snakes off.
You stand down, Freddy. Let's give Medusa some space.
Yeah, okay. I'm watching her, though.
You ready to talk?
Oh, fine. Fine. What exactly is it that you want, pretty muse?
You were at the reliquary the night Calliope was murdered. I want to know why.
Blast! This is why I didn't tell Lady Athena. I knew it would come back to haunt me. I only followed pretty Calliope to the reliquary. I never spoke to her, never even caught up to her. I swear it.
That's what Asterion told us, more or less.
But you were there that night.
Yes, I admit it. Ugh, Lady Athena will have my head. She'll mount it on a pike. Whatever you might think of me, I had no part in the Muse's death. I did not even know she'd been attacked until I saw her fleeing.
Asterion said he caught up with you out in the fog. Is that right?
I thought he was the one who had attacked her. He is a great beast of a creature.
He killed Hecate's cat by accident, but this still seems hard to believe.
Yes, I had only realized my mistake once I caught up to him, and by then the Muse was gone.
And you never found her afterwards?
I thought she might flee to her pretty home, or to the sharp and prickly Persephone. She did neither.
Yeah, she came to see me. You followed Calliope to the reliquary. Why were you shadowing her at all?
I am Lady Athena's spy master, yes. Calliope has been trouble from time to time.
So you were spying on her.
I keep watch over every idol who no longer lives in Olympus, but especially Calliope. When I realized she was headed to the reliquary that eve, I followed. I had a duty to Athena.
Did you ever find out why Calliope went there?
I was never close enough to ask. When I drew near to the reliquary, that is when I saw the Muse fleeing. She was frightened, blooded, dying.
Let me guess, that made you hungry.
I gave chase, yes, but to discover the truth. I knew Lady Athena would wish to know.
That does make sense from your perspective.
I didn't learn the truth until later. And then it was far too late.
You haven't told Athena any of this?
Do I need to light things up again? 'Cause I'll do it.
I told her Calliope was at the reliquary that night. I did not tell her I was also there.
Why not? Wouldn't Athena find out from Hecate anyway?
I was not thinking clearly. I panicked. Lady Athena barely tolerates my presence as it is. If she thought I was involved in any way, if she even suspected.
Why should we believe you? You did just try to eat me, remember?
I am telling you the truth.
Right, and not at all trying to cover your own ass.
You presented an opportunity. Oh, to taste the sweet, sweet blood of a hero once again. It's a problem. I've been working on it, I really have.
Uh-huh.
Well, what of Pan? The only reason I knew Calliope was going to the reliquary is because he informed me.
So much for never lying to me.
What were the odds, honestly?
Let's put a pin in that for the moment, shall we?
I am a monster. It's true. I do not deny it. It's still, I did not kill the Muse.
Okay, let's say we believe you. For the moment.
Whatever you do, pretty Muse, I beg you. Do not tell Athena of my indiscretion. Show mercy. I know what I am horrifies you. It horrifies me as well. I cannot help what I am. I did not ask to be cursed like this.
Indiscretion, huh? It's quite the word for it.
I cannot apologize for my hunger. I can only apologize that I am so very weak in the face of it.
I'll think about it.
I am a lost and cursed thing. No idol. If Lady Athena should learn the truth. I hope you find what you seek, pretty muse. And that we meet again someday. And sing a different song.